Look at your hair right now. If you never cut it, it would grow down past your waist, past your knees. It would tangle mat, collect dirt, and become a breeding ground for parasites. Now imagine you're living 100,000 years ago. No scissors, no razors, no mirrors, no shampoo. Just you. And hair that never stops growing. So what did ancient humans do about it? The answer is way more surprising than you think. And it reveals something incredible about when we stopped being animals and started being human. Let's start with a question. Why do humans even have hair that grows forever? Most animals don't have this problem. A lion's mane grows to a certain length and stops. A wolf's fur sheds seasonally and regrows. But human hair, it just keeps growing and growing and growing. The world record is over 18 feet long. This is actually really weird from an evolutionary perspective. Long hair gets caught in branches. It blocks your vision during a hunt. It gives predators something to grab. It soaks up water and makes you cold. It's a liability. So why do we have it? It's connected to when we lost our body fur about 1.2 million years ago. We needed something to protect our heads from the sun. And ancient humans had to figure it out, without any modern tools. So how did they cut it? The oldest evidence we have of hair cutting comes from about 30,000 years ago. We found sharp flint blades with microscopic hair residue on them. But humans existed for hundreds of thousands of years before that. What did they do? Here's what we think happened. Burning, the simplest method. Hold a section of hair over a fire and let it burn away. The smell must have been terrible, but it worked. Sharp stones. Ancient humans made cutting tools from obsidian and flint, sharper than modern surgical scalpels. They could saw through hair, slowly and painfully. Crushing. Some evidence suggests they placed hair between two rocks and crushed it until it broke. Rough, but effective. Plucking. For facial hair especially, they might have just ripped it out. Archaeological evidence shows tweezers made from shells and clamshells going back 100,000 years. Imagine plucking your entire beard one hair at a time. But here's what's really fascinating. Ancient humans didn't just cut their hair. They styled it. We found 25,000-year-old Venus figurines, ancient statues of women with elaborate braided hairstyles carved into the stone. Think about that. During the Ice Age, when humans were fighting to survive, they were also braiding hair. Why? Because hair became a form of communication. In tribal societies, your hairstyle told people how old you were, your social status, whether you were married, what tribe you belonged to, if you were a warrior, hunter, or shaman. Hair became identity. The Himba people in Namibia still practice ancient hair traditions, coating their hair in red ochre and butter, creating intricate styles that haven't changed in thousands of years. This might be exactly what our ancestors did. And then there's the grooming aspect. Ancient humans didn't have shampoo, but they had something else. Lice. Head lice have been with humans for over 100,000 years. We know this because scientists studied lice DNA and traced it back to when humans first started wearing clothes. Lice were everywhere, so ancient humans became obsessed with grooming each other. Just like monkeys and apes today, they would sit for hours picking through each other's hair, removing lice, ticks, and debris. This wasn't just hygiene, it was bonding. Scientists think this social grooming was crucial for building trust, forming alliances, and strengthening community bonds. Language might have even evolved from grooming sessions, people talking while picking through hair. Your haircut appointment? That's an ancient ritual. Now let's talk about Neanderthals. Did they care about hair? For a long time, scientists thought Neanderthals were just brutish cavemen who didn't care about appearance. They were wrong. We found evidence that Neanderthals made sophisticated tools specifically for personal grooming, sharp bone implements that could trim hair and beards. We've also found ochre, red pigment, at Neanderthal sites. They were decorating themselves. Probably their hair too. And here's the kicker. Neanderthal skulls show evidence of symbolic behavior going back 130,000 years. They weren't just surviving, they were expressing themselves. Hair was part of that expression. But the craziest discovery about ancient hair? It might have saved our lives. Here's what scientists recently figured out. When early humans moved out of Africa into colder climates, they faced a massive problem. Cold weather, freezing temperatures, no shelter. Facial hair, beards specifically, became insulation. Men with thicker beards survived cold nights better than clean-shaven men. They passed on their genes. That's why modern men from colder regions, Northern Europe, Central Asia, tend to have thicker, fuller beards than men from tropical regions. Your beard is an evolutionary adaptation to Ice Age winters. Women's long head hair likely served the same purpose, a built-in blanket for the neck and shoulders. Hair wasn't just decoration, it was survival equipment. So when did haircuts become normal? The real revolution happened about 5,000 years ago in ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia. The Egyptians invented copper and bronze razors. Suddenly, clean-shaven faces became fashionable for the first time in human history. Egyptian priests shaved their entire bodies, head, face, eyebrows, everything, as a sign of purity. Meanwhile, in ancient Rome, going to the barber became a daily social ritual. Men would spend hours getting trimmed, shaved, and gossiping about politics. The Romans even had a coming-of-age ceremony where teenage boys cut their first beard and offered it to the gods. Hair had gone from survival tool to fashion statement to sacred ritual. Here's what blows my mind. For 99% of human history, cutting your hair was a massive undertaking. You needed sharp tools that took hours to make. You needed someone skilled enough not to slice your scalp open. You needed to sit still while someone sawed through your hair with a rock. Today, you book an appointment, sit for 20 minutes, and it's done. We take it completely for granted. But that simple haircut you got last week, it represents hundreds of thousands of years of human innovation. From burning hair over campfires, to sawing it with obsidian blades, to elaborate Bronze Age razors, to the scissors and clippers we use today. Every time you look in the mirror at your fresh haircut, you're experiencing something ancient humans would have considered absolute magic. So what did ancient humans do with their hair? They burned it, cut it with rocks, braided it into elaborate styles, decorated it with ochre and beads, groomed each other for hours, used it to show status, identity, and belonging. They cared about their hair just as much as we do today, because even 100,000 years ago, humans understood something fundamental. How you present yourself matters. Your appearance communicates who you are, and sometimes, survival depends on looking the part. Ancient humans weren't just trying to survive, they were trying to be human, and it started with their hair.